Carolyn, roll call, please.
Mr. Daly?
Here.
Mr. Trujillo?
Here.
Mr. Butcher?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez? Mayor Collins?
Here. If you'll bow your heads, join me in prayer, please.
Thank you, Lord.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight to give you thanks for the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. From the roof over our heads to the clothing that we wear, to the meals that we enjoy today. We know that we're more fortunate than others, and for that we give you thanks, Lord. But we also want to pray for those who were less fortunate, those who were in dire need. We ask that you help us to help them, Lord, especially those who find themselves distraught and in need of assistance. Protect our police and fire departments as well as all our city staff as we try to do the best to accommodate our residents' needs. And help us, Lord, to be frugal with our city money as our residents entrust us to be good stewards of their funds. Fill us, Father, with not just earthly wisdom, but with heavenly wisdom as well. If it is your will, allow our economy, namely gas and oil, to rebound from this downfall, so that we are better able to provide for those families and loved ones and those in this community. We ask that you hear our prayers, Lord, and that you continue to bless this community. And we ask this in your glorious Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag
of the state of New Mexico, as the symbol of perfect friendship among the United cultures.
Thank you.
So 10, 15 years old. And it's all Martin's fault.
Oh, yeah. It's not that. It's short. It's short. All right. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve approve the agenda as submitted.
We have a motion. Mr. Commissioner Sanchez seconds it. All right. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll take a motion to consider the regular meeting minutes of October 24th, 2016.
Make that motion.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. We'll go on to the commissioners and staff report. All right. We'll start with Wyatt.
Commissioner and Mayor Campos, just to let you guys know, or as you guys may have seen, we had a big hole in the middle of Main Street and Avenue 8. We had an 8-inch main line, cast iron line blowout, probably about 2:15, 3 o'clock. They are backfilling it right now. All the water's back on. We are going to leave the 2 inside lanes shut down for overnight, possibly tomorrow. Let it kind of dry out so we can backfill, leave that 2 lanes open. Just to let you guys know, everything went back together smoothly.
Okay. All right. The 2 outside lanes?
The 2 inner lanes are going to be shut down.
Right.
We're going to just turn them to the outside lanes.
Okay. We have a hydrant that's open too, is that correct?
Yes, they were just release some of the pressure, and while we open up the valves, so some of the stuff breaking loose from the valves doesn't go inside the residence or anything, so a little flush point.
Okay, very good. 'Cause I noticed some people were avoiding the outside lane because of the water that was flowing. That's just why I was asking. Guess they'll have to get through it, huh?
Oh, everything's going to be shut back down.
Okay.
Everything will be dried up and might be a little bit rocky and muddy, but we'll run the street sweeper down and clean everything up.
Very good. Anything else, Wyatt?
No, sir.
Okay. Appreciate you. Are they still out there working right now?
They're backfilling and cleaning up right now.
All right. Tell them to say thank you for that. Yes, sir, Gary.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. I have the report that our auditors are here this week, and I've gotten what I consider good news, and then our auditors said, I brought enough staff, I think we'll finish this early. And I thought, boy, that'd be great. However, that's not a guarantee.
Right. All right, very good. Anything else you wish to report?
No, sir, not this time.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to visit with our friends at Tyler Industries?
I have regular meetings with them, conference calls every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We're at a point right now where we're working on putting some more pieces together related to what we're going to be doing with code enforcement and planning, integrating that into a part of what we're planning related to our utility billing, because we're also going to be integrating, obviously, our utility billing into the software. And that's the stage that we're at right now. It's just more of a planning process on those things.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any questions for the commission? Anna, anything to report?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. Carol Ann,
No, sir.
we had prayers for you and your recovery, and we wish that you continue to recover.
Thank you.
I know that must be a painful injury, so we're glad to see you here.
Thank you.
We still want a Christmas present.
I'll get it.
Some hairspray, hair gel, mop and gloves.
That was low.
No, not low, glow.
Low.
Commissioner Sanchez, anything to report?
Well, I have nothing to report, except that Donald Trump won the election, he's got a new president.
Good,
That's
good,
it.
all right, all right.
Y'all
Thank you,
y'all
Commissioner.
heard it.
What'd you say?
I said, everybody probably heard it.
Probably, yeah, unless you've been living under a rock or something. Commissioner Butcher,
I do. I have actually one question. I guess it's for Wyatt or James, either one. Our house out to the park, what is it actually being utilized for now? I mean, are we upgrading it or just storage, or what's going on there?
We actually, Mayor and Commissioners, we actually have George Aranda, one of our Parks employees, who's living out there, and he's a custodian, basically, just keeping an eye on the park at night. So it is being utilized as a residence.
It's good. It's good.
all right, I don't have anything to report. Commissioner Reed?
I was talking with James the other night. We were discussing that I'd like to see the lights go up in Lovington a little bit sooner, like probably about the 15th of November, and kind of like make it a trend. Well, you know, if you notice, like some of the major grocery store, retail stores always have their stuff put out early, pretty much right after Halloween. And if we're going to promote South Lovington, I want us to have that. If anything in the square area, that would be a promotion, and maybe we can probably try to come up with a slogan, lights on for Shop Lovington or something, you know, and maybe make that a trend for next year. I know this year James worked on it; he's going to get them off next week. And I appreciate that, James. But it was a good insight from some of the retailers that were talking about it, and I thought that was a good idea, because you know, it's Rios and a lot of other communities that promote shop in their community have their lights up early, because that's what they're pushing. And I think we'll market ourselves as well. That's it.
I just had a quick question also, I almost forgot, James. Can you give us an update on the Fuel Up gas giveaway program? How's that coming along?
We've had a flurry of receipts being turned in this week, Monday. I believe we have close to 600 entries at this
Oh,
point.
wow.
So anybody is still eligible to make those entries, whether you're a private citizen or if you're a business. Everybody who purchases fuel in Lovington is eligible for that drawing. We will close the drawing at 11:30 on Friday, and then Monday morning we'll announce the winners live via Facebook.
All right, very good. Thank you. Commissioner again. Anything?
Hey, James, would you update the rest of the commission on the lighting issue that we discussed at the football field out there?
At the Commercial Street Baseball Complex, we have had a lighting issue out there where 3 of the light banks we're not utilizing right now because it's causing a short in the system. We do have an electrician who's been working on a problem for the past week and a half, just trying to troubleshoot that, but just for safety reasons, we've let those lights shut down until we can troubleshoot that particular problem.
That's all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Chief? Nothing? Nothing? Chief? Very good. James?
Yes, Mayor, Commissioners, as Commissioner Trio had mentioned, the Small Business Saturday is November 26th, the day after Black Friday, so save your money and spend it here in Lovington. Also, we had a meeting on Friday with DOT, the engineering firm, WH Pacific, working on the New Mexico 18 project, which is looking at the reconstruction of Main Street from Commercial in Maine all the way out to Gilmore in Maine. This was just kind of a kickoff meeting to update us on what the progress is. Right now, they're conducting their current conditions assessment, which they will have that report submitted to DOT with recommendations. By December is what the timeline is. They're looking at drainage, they're looking at the pavement condition, also signalization. So we provided different input. They will be having a couple of stakeholder and public meetings. I believe the first one will be sometime in February, I believe is what they said. They didn't have a specific date to where the public will be able to come in and provide those comments, but we had the opportunity to visit with everybody involved as far as looking at safety and what we want to do as far as conforming with our downtown plan and comprehensive plan within Lovington, but it does appear that it's still on track for spring of 2018 right now is the tentative start date for construction. So we're still well over a year out.
Mr. Gannon?
I had a question. On are we looking at our water and sewer and those?
Thank you for bringing that up. I wrote a note to remind, Wyatt and I were just discussing that, where this leak occurred. That's basically where that water main starts on Main Street and it goes all the way up to Pope. We are working on estimates to where, or the figures to where we can replace that line during that construction process.
Thank you.
Very good. Anything else, James?
No, sir, that's it.
I had one other thing. I'd like to thank Main Street for the Halloween on the Plaza. It was a great event. I had a great time. I don't know if anybody else did, but I had a good time. So, thank you.
Thank you for participating.
Patrick?
No, no, sir.
I just had a quick question for you. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just had a question about the upcoming session in the legislature in January. I know that they're going to look at sweeping or recovering some of the funds for the schools throughout the state. And I know we have pretty healthy reserves ourselves. And could you explain to us the possibility of that taking place within municipalities, obligated projects, non-obligated, and so forth? Could you kind of like speak on that?
Well, I think what we've seen as far as obligated projects, I think the state is taking a look at every particular opportunity to pull those back. If you haven't had your certain reporting in on time, if there's something that's been filed that's incorrect, I think they're looking at trying to get that money back. As far as taking a look at some of the reserves, I've not spent a whole lot of time. I've heard that, but I figured as we got closer, we'd take a look at it and see. But I can give you a fuller report at the next meeting. But it's certainly a concern, and it certainly sends a message out to communities that if you're going to save and trying to protect the city, its employees and the constituents, that you might be more at risk than another municipality or another governmental agency that decided just to spend everything they had and if it goes south, rely back on the state. So it's not the best message perhaps to be sent out, but I can give you a little bit fuller report on that. That's all right.
Appreciate that, Pat. Sure. I know you didn't have the information beforehand, but that's the information I'm getting also. So I think James and us as a commission, we're going to be working closely together to make sure that we can keep everything that we have, because it's dire times right now. Desperate times calls for desperate measures, so we got to take care of what we got. Appreciate that, Chair. All right. No further discussion from the staff. We'll go into public comment. Anybody wishes to address the commission can do so at this time. If you'll keep your comments or questions to within about 3 minutes, just identify yourself and feel free.
Mayor, Commissioners, Ron Price. Got one question. The lights that we put up around the courthouse, who's in charge of those? Is the county in charge of them, or are we in charge of them?
Santa Claus.
All the new lights that we put up when we redone all the streets over there, the street lights.
Oh, the street lights?
Yes.
That's actually on the central side, that's us.
Okay, it's on the north side, so,
Yeah, on north, are you talking on the Washington side or?
yeah, it'd be the Washington Street.
Washington, that's still, we're working with, those are actually still under the management of Lee County Electric.
They don't work.
Right, we're working on
Okay,
getting that switched over to its own meter to where the city takes.
okay. That's all I need to know.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else wish to address the commission?
I have a quick question again, full questions.
Okay.
Hey, James, on the Avenue L lights, where we at? I don't remember. On the street lights, we talked about some lights back there.
Right, I believe you may have been gone that meeting.
Okay.
We actually submitted that to Lee County Electric for them to install those lights.
Okay.
I believe they're getting four more street lights on that section of that.
Okay, I just drove down again and kind of triggered that. He said light, so I apologize. Thank you.
No problem, thank you. All right, anybody else for public comment at this time? All right. Seeing as nobody steps up, we'll go into action items. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion we consider ordinance 549, amending Title II, Administration and Personnel Chapter 2.92, Personnel Merit System of the Lovington Municipal Code, Section K, Annual Leave and Sick Leave Accruals.
Second.
We have a second, James.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is, as you're aware, we elected to enact the Section K exemption for the police department. And this adds language into the leave accrual policy in the personnel manual to where when we do enact that Section K exemption, it does adjust the hours that our police officers will accrue. And you can see that in the red line version that they're basically on the same leave accrual as our fire department personnel who are also on the Section K exemption.
So they are eligible for overtime even within, let's say, the first week, second week? There's no differential there, is that correct?
Correct. They have to, correct. The way that we are working with them is that if they work physically work in excess of the 86 hours in a 2-week period, they are eligible for overtime.
Okay, very good. Any questions about the commission? All right. We'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I consider another motion.
I'd like to make a
We consider resolution 216-102 disposal of surplus property.
Second that.
We have a second. James. Or Gary.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Mayor and Commissioners, we do have some equipment that is in need of disposal through public auction. We will take these also off of our capital asset inventory, but Exhibit A does list those items that will be submitted for public auction.
And this has been approved by the state auditor office, is that correct? Or we have sent a letter?
Actually, no, sir, we don't. As a municipality, we don't have to.
Okay.
We are following the disposition of property schedule, so we don't have to send that list to the state auditor.
Okay, very good. Yes, sir.
Where is this property at? All this thing we're going to dispose of? We're all.
Mayor and Commissioners, some of this is equipment over at our library on Exhibit A. We still have like all the equipment at the street department, it's still over at the street yard. The police department units are at the street yard or the water yard.
So are you going to put it all in one place during auction time?
Yes.
We can all look at them.
What is a scrapper?
scraper.
It says scrapper. Okay. Scraper. All right. And 4 police units, is that correct?
Yes. Some of the old ones and some of the ones that are given to a lot of mechanical
All right, very good.
issues.
Okay. Any other questions about commission? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
I'd like to make a motion to consider resolution consider resolution 2016-103, transfer of ownership of police department K-9 unit. Or K-9.
Second.
We have a second.
I'll
Chief?
second it.
We had a second.
No, I never heard him, so
Yeah, I'll read it.
let's go ahead.
All right. Chief?
Sure.
This is the K-9 dart that we've had for probably 13, 14 years around there. He has started developing real bad arthritis in his paws. Can't quite jump on into the units anymore. We were fortunate to get a donated new dog. It's about a year old from Clovis. So we're asking to retire Dart and to leave him with his handler.
Is Sergeant Hay going to handle the new dog as well?
He's got the explosives K-9, yes.
Okay. How many canines do we have?
2, 3 until we do something with this one.
Okay. So how are they specifically trained?
As far as
Their abilities?
they train 8 hours a week, both K-9 and the explosives. They have to get certified. They go to a 3-week school before they even get the dog itself. So.
I mean, they're sort of trained in search.
Correct. So it just depends on the dog itself. The explosions dog is obviously just nothing but explosives. And obviously the other one is narcotics and apprehension and tracking. So.
Okay, very good. Cool. Thank you. Any other questions by commission? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
Make a motion to consider resolution 2016-0104, approval of police department foot pursuit policy.
Second.
We have a second. All right. Chief?
This one also is just basic guidelines for our officers on weighing in the dangers associated with foot pursuits and apprehensions. As you're aware, we've had a lot of officers being injured, not here, but throughout, because of running after suspects. They just don't care what's on the other side. So, and that's the whole issue. Is this comes about? We did give them 8 hours of foot pursuit training this year, so they are up to date with the new stuff.
Very good. You say new stuff. What do you mean? What are some of the updates? Do you remember?
Well, let me just put it this way: the trends that we're seeing where the officers are actually getting injured is what they're actually teaching is what to look for and stuff like that. It's basically updates.
Okay. All right, very good. Any other questions about the commission?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Commissioner Sanchez.
This pursuit thing, where is this going to take place, this training?
It already did. We did the training at the New Mexico Junior College.
Was it put on by the advanced training sections of the academy?
That is correct.
Okay, very good. Speaking of academy, can you tell us what's going on there?
Sure.
Okay.
They're running a little behind. They are going to have an academy this year. It's actually the beginning of it should be March 5th is the tentative date. They're out looking for a new director to take over that program itself. So they should have a full class.
And what about afterwards? After March?
They're
So to keep on having classes?
Correct. Correct. They just had a hiccup there for a little bit, but they got that addressed.
Okay. Very good. Commissioner Butcher, you had a question?
I think Commissioner Sanchez was reading my mind. We had the same
All right.
question.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? You're being pretty quiet today, Commissioner Trujillo.
I was laughing.
Okay.
Because he was a track runner. That's why you
Oh.
track with him.
I couldn't run around this table.
What was is the opposite word there. Okay, all right. We go to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
Make a motion to consider resolution 2016-105, approval of police department LOBD policy. I don't even know what that acronym stands for. Chief.
It's law enforcement death. It's actually on duty death.
Line of duty.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Chief, you're back on the stand.
This one's basically, we have never had a policy as to the protocols or or how to handle a situation if it was to arise as to where one of our officers got injured or killed in the line of duty. It basically breaks it down as to what is to take place and who's required to make sure that those tasks are actually come to life.
Can you kind of like tell us in the audience just a short version of what takes place there?
There's nothing short about it. There's arrangements from making sure if it's actually a death, that the officer, somebody escorts the body to the funeral home, waits there, make arrangements, whatever they need with the families, support them in anything we can as far as there's stuff in there as far as HR, getting paperwork documented, procession, speaking with the news medias and stuff like that. It's quite a bit in depth.
I know that we were kidding about it, but it's a very serious matter, something that we hope we never have to invoke in this or any of our communities. So I appreciate that, Chief. All right. Any other discussion by the commission? All in favor? Or did you have a question? I saw you going like that. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
I'd like to consider resolution 2016-106, approval of 2016-2017 residential road improvement projects.
Second.
It was Commissioner Trujillo, correct? All right. James.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, as we discussed at our previous meeting, staff had brought forth 2 projects to be included in what we call our residential road improvement program this year. This is money using special gas tax to specifically target residential areas. The 2 projects that we brought before the commission the last time was a drainage project in the area of 7th and Polk, or what we call our West Polk drainage. What we need to do to eliminate the pooling that we have in that particular area is to invert the crown of the road. The project will start at 8th and Polk and terminate at 6th and Polk. This project's approximately $342,000. That is an engineer estimate. We're hoping that, of course, the price would come down on this, but with Commission's approval, this would be our first project we would like to go ahead and start with. We then have the next project is our South 6th Street reconstruction. Looking at this project, we would start in the area of Avenue K and 6th Street. We do have a drainage problem on Avenue J as well, where water pools because the water's it will not flow uphill following the natural drainage. So we would want to do some drainage improvement there that would carry over onto 6th Street and move down to Brian Erlacher as far as we can. The whole project, since this does involve public buildings, the schools, we would need to make sure that we have some type of ADA implementation there. The total project estimated cost for road reconstruction and sidewalk is $568,000. What we're recommending, just due to budget constraints, is to start with the roadway and do a phase 2, perhaps next year, to complete the sidewalk and ADA improvements that we would need to have. But we're wanting to go ahead and go to design for both formal design for the Polk Street drainage project and design with South 6th, with construction starting on Polk Street as soon as possible. Once we get the design and the official engineer's certified estimates for South 6th, we would look at that to make sure that we stay within our budget that we set this year. However, construction on that, due to its proximity to the schools, wouldn't start until the day after school lets out this year.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yes, sir. Commissioner Sanchez.
On that project, Mr. Williams, would this take care of the problem there that the Robinson been having?
Yes. According to our engineers, yes, Commissioner Sanchez, it will.
They're here with us today too.
Ma'am, would you like to speak and address the commission? Anything you'd like to say?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand
You
you.
don't have to say anything, I don't talk to, say anything with the commission.
Well, I would like to, okay. First of all, I thank you very much for this opportunity and for your service and your patience with me as I've come and visited with you and talked with you. And with James, who has been very patient. I know he has explained this condition that we have, and I think you know the importance of this and how it has devaluated not only my property, but the surrounding area. And every time it rains, we can get a 6/10 of an inch of rain. If it comes in a downpour, we're flooded. Our garage is flooded. Thanks to the city, they have brought out sandbags and put up at the front of the garage, but I can't lift them. So our neighbors have been kind enough to do that. And some said, oh, why don't you put a hump in front of your drive where you drive in your garage and make it stay out. One of our friends did that, and it came a rain and it filled up their garage, and it took them several days to get the water swept out of their garage. So that didn't work. So I appreciate very much each of you for considering this, and hope that we can soon get this solved so that it doesn't just affect me, but there are other neighbors there that are affected by it. So that's what I have to say, and I thank you again for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. All right, any other discussion? Is that all, James?
That's it, sir.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of the resolution 2016-107, approval of engineering services agreement for Washington Street project.
I'll second that.
We have a second. James?
Mayor and Commissioners, this was an RFP that we have previously awarded for the Phase 2 of Central Plaza, which is the rework of Washington Street for streetscape improvements, ADA improvements, pedestrian facilities. This is funded through a $20,000 capital outlay appropriation. Also, we have a almost $59,000 federal grant called Transportation Alternative Program, and our local match is $11,000. So we would like to go ahead and proceed with this execution of this contract.
Very good. Thank you, James. Any other discussion or questions from the commission? A lot of material there. Questions? Comments? You guys good? All right, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll entertain the next motion.
Make a motion, we consider resolution 2016-108, approval of engineering service agreement for the multi-use trail.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Butcher. James?
Mayor and Commissioners, this is another project that we did go out to RFP for design work. That is, the majority of this is actually being funded through the federal Rails to Trails program. It's for the multi-use trail from Chaparral Park to the area of Central and Love Street. The funding is actually broken up over a 2-year cycle, the federal fiscal year, which this year we received $140,000 for this particular phase of the project. In 2017, we'll receive an additional $327,000 for this project as well. But right now, this contract looks like it's a lump sum payment excluding, no, this does include GRT, of $127,000. So our actual federal match, or our federal grant actually more than covers the design phase of this project.
James, and our match is what, approximately about $80,000? Is that correct?
Probably, yeah, about $89,000, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good.
This is the trail from the Central Plaza back over to the plant.
Yes, sir.
I know that I have several people that absolutely hate that idea.
Yes, sir. Mayor and Commissioners, this particular grant, that's the only thing it can be used for.
Well, I realize that.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure.
No, I understand what it can be used for. I just, I had to express the
Yes, sir.
displeasure for this project.
Good question.
Oh, I was gonna ask, when are we actually gonna get started on this project?
The design, I believe, with the design phase, it's gonna take about a year. Let me pull that up. It's the last page of the document. Looks like our design, the design phase will actually end September of next year, of 2017, is when the design and engineering. At that point, any additional federal funds for the construction, we would need to, we'll be working on that for the next year, looking at the, any additional funds that we'll need for the construction of the project. We would have to go to bid for this since it is a federal project, but really we probably wouldn't see anything until 2018 before we would start construction.
Mr. Gandy, in all fairness, I'm interested in what people said that they didn't like about this. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, it's just the fact that, you know, it's their misunderstanding of how the money is used. They assume that we can use the money anywhere in the community. And so they struggle with that idea of when we have money that goes on projects. They prefer to see it used on streets or roads or parks or anywhere else other than what it's been designated for. So I've had that discussion several times with several different people in the community, you know, so, but they seem to absolutely hate the idea.
So they don't hate the idea actually of the trail, they're concerned with where the
Actually
money's
both.
coming from?
Actually both.
So they don't like the trail?
They don't like the trail ideal and they don't like the reason we're spending the money.
Okay.
So,
All right. I was just curious, that's all, just to get it out there. Appreciate that.
no problem.
But it's also tax money brought into our community. It's not like coming out of our bank account, you know, we do matching funds with it, but it's still state money coming into our, and
And federal money.
creates local guys to work and so forth, and, you know, it creates a little bit of jobs.
No, it does. It brings in gross receipts. It does different things like that. I understand the concept. I just,
But, no, I know.
You're just conveying
There's a
the,
lag.
conveying the concerns of people that chew on my ear.
so, don't hate the messenger, right?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. You have other reasons for that, so, yeah.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain another motion.
I'll make a motion that we consider the accounts payable.
And I'll second that.
We have a second. Gary?
Mayor and Commission, the single largest expenditure is a real positive thing. We finally got another 1,000 water meters, the $288,095 for our water meter replacement project. And if you have any questions, I'm available to answer them.
Thank you, Gary.
It's crazy.
Any questions from the commission, comments? No? None? All right, very good. Commissioner
So we
Sessions?
pay the bill.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. I'll entertain the next motion.
Make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to section 10-15-1 NMSA 1978 subsection H-8 regarding the purchase, acquisition, or disposition of real property or water rights, city-owned commercial property, commercial leases, and protest of water rights.
Do we have a second? All right. Carolyn?
back into regular session. The matters discussed in closed session were limited, only those specified in the motion for closure, and no action was taken.
Second.
We have a second. Carolyn?
Commissioner Gaines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Butcher.
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Aye.
Mayor Campos.
Aye. All right. There's no other further discussion. We'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Back to you.